Well, g'day flatties and globe defenders. This is Critical Think from Down Under. As a background to this video, Flatzoid was trying to debunk Ranty on his new channel Flurfspective when Ranty was trying to explain the concept of eye level. One of the questions from Ranty was, how can eye level be down lower than eye level? I know it's a silly question, but Flurs seem to have this problem with eye level and perspective, and they can't rationalize the two. They can't understand what eye level is. It just seems to be beyond their comprehension. And anyway, you can see right here, Randy's asking the question here, why, if eye level is 210 meters high, then why should it be down here, pointing at somewhere down here? And the answer from Flatzoid is it's called perspective. But you see, something at eye level remains at eye level, and perspective doesn't change that. They think that something getting smaller means eye level goes down or something. But anyway, Ranty was trying to explain it. As usual, Flatzoid completely missed the point and come up with this kind of garbage. So Flatzoid approaches this with his own piece of kitchen science, a taller blue bottle and a shorter container with a purple lid. Notice the difference in the two heights. Now there's a whole lot of gobbledygook on this side which is irrelevant because Flatzoid wants to give the answer perspective to everything, and we do know how perspective works, okay? Oh, and yes, things change in angular size, and things do appear to ramp up towards eye level. And notice how the AOA, whatever AOA is, I know that angle of attack is an aircraft term, and somehow it's been hijacked to mean something in flat earthery, but I'm not really sure exactly what it means. And since flat earthery has no definitions, then we can't really be sure. It's like many of the terms in flat earthery, it can mean whatever you like as long as the earth is flat. So notice how the elevation changes, the survival, I don't know. Anyway, that's complete bollocks and irrelevant. We know how perspective works, and but what about eye level? Ranty's whole thing was about eye level. Now, if you recall, this container in the foreground, this one here, is taller than the container in the background. Yes, the container in the background still appears smaller because it's further away. However, if you moved this container further away, it would also get smaller. But if it was up against the wall right there, it would still be taller than the one with the purple lid. Okay? So in fact, the eye level in this diagram, which means take a level point from the eye, would be somewhere around that blue line. So why are you pointing this straw at that lid? And then why is this message here? So tell me again how the mountain should keep its actual size again, Ranty. That's not what Ranty was saying. Ranty wasn't saying that it should keep its actual size. Ranty was saying that eye level should be always above the mountain because the observer is above the height of that mountain. So in this case, to illustrate the point here, blue line, eye level, right? Other mountain represented by the purple below. Okay? Now I know this is a bit hard, but if you were to draw a level line from the top of that foreground bottle and make it go and extend it out to the wall, this level line would intersect the wall at the blue line. Why have you got this pointing at there where it is? Could this be that you're trying to say something stupid, like watch as the rod seems to follow perspective? That you think that eye level can change just because you want it to? And then this was followed up with another video, because in the previous video he was holding the straw. So instead he taped the straw to the top of the taller bottle. Now, why tape it at one end? Oh, that would make it easier to tilt it however you like. That's right. And see this here? This diagram is a deliberately deceptive camera angle, and I'll show you how that works in a little while. If you look closely, this yellow tube appears to angle upwards there when, I think the intent was that was supposed to appear level. But in fact, it's tilting down, but he's used a camera angle and another little trick to make it look like it's tilting up a little bit there. Again, he set it up so that it's the tube is taped and it's pointing to the top of that container over there. Now, why is it pointing exactly to the top of that container? What has that container got to do with eye level? Nothing much, really. You could have replaced it with a taller one or a shorter one. Would you then have to point the yellow tube at the top of the other container if it was shorter? I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous. And there's all this text there because I know my ugly mug is in the way. It says, anyone see how the tube has risen relative to eye level? No. See the relation to the objects just by change. Oh, no, rubbish. See how elevation changes the angle of the rod to the tub. Oh, that's just perspective and moving the camera up and down and parallax and all that. It's really nothing of any consequence. But here, very interesting to see, he says, everything below eye level rises and everything above sinks. So here's a question for you. Why is this part of the tube sinking to below eye level? Remember, eye level is on the wall there, but this part of the tube starts from above and then goes below. Once it gets below eye level, shouldn't it start to rise again? Things at eye level stay at eye level. They don't go below eye level. So there I've drawn the lines, and you can see that this tube is pointing downwards below eye level. So if you were going to do this properly, this tube should be level, and then it would point up to the wall there. So just because you want to point it down there doesn't mean that something level will point down there, because this yellow tube is not level. So this is pretty much a bunch of fakery and bordering on fraudulent. But I think the real problem is Flatsoid's too stupid to understand what eye level is. In fact, can't even understand what level is. So I've duplicated this bit of skullduggery, and you can see my fishy sauce bottle there. I haven't got a plastic tube, so I've just used a plastic ruler instead. I hope that's okay. And my bottle of tomato sauce. I've taken the obligatory deceptive shot there to show that that's in fact higher than the tomato paste. And I take a picture and, oh, look at that. Eye level points to the top of the tomato paste. Just joking, of course. It's pointing down, isn't it? So I've balanced a level on top just to see what the angle might be. Got it as close as I could, so let's play this. You can see it's not very level, and it's an angle of 4 degrees it's showing there. Now my table is not level either. It's got an angle of 0.9 degrees, so nearly 1 degree. That would mean that that ruler is pointing down by about 3 degrees when it should be level. So here I've changed my bottle of fishy sauce for a jar of olives. It's also at 0.9 degrees, the top of it, which is as expected. And I've taped my ruler to the top of the jar of olives just as a second demonstration. I'm looking down the ruler at the top of the tomato paste. Now, this is not much different to what Flatzoid did, and you can tell if you look closely that we're actually looking downwards. Flatzoid's argument seemed to be that perspective can make a level object point downwards, which is just plain bollocks, really. And so there's my ruler, and in that shot it does not appear to be pointing downwards. That's because I've got the camera below and I've got the jar of olives turned a little bit to make the perspective look different. So it looks like that, and when I look below it looks nice and flat. But that's just a deception and a trick of photography.